Hello YouTube, welcome back to another video. Today we were on another field trip and we were at Bender Park. This is a dog walk or a bike path. It's a recreational area. There's a boat launch down below. I'll show you all that stuff. This parcel of land is owned by the Milwaukee County Parks District, and they do take good care of this park. I think there's over 400 acres of land that you can walk around in. The only thing is you can't take motorized vehicles back beyond this certain point. This is the little access road that goes down to the boat launch. And there's a little walking path here on the left. On this side right here is the walking path. This is the access road. And we'll come back around to that later. It's a very foggy day today in Wisconsin. Yesterday it was in the 70s and humid. Overnight the temperature dropped into the 50s. So it created a lot of fog. It's actually very comfortable right now. And I have my two daughters with me again, and we have Hannah. This is the park that we got a bunch of ticks on her last weekend, so we got to be careful. And I don't know how good this video is going to come out with. It's really foggy. I'll probably do a couple different videos here during the course of the summer, so you can see it when it's on a really summer day, really sunny day. Today is Saturday, the 16th, and we are coming up to Lake Michigan, which I'll get a closer view of that later, because you're not going to be able to really see it because it is very foggy. You can see that little parking lot down below. That's the parking lot for the boat trailers. And then there's a little, kind of like a little kiosk down there. There's some bathrooms, and I think there's even a little store in there. I'm not sure. But then there's a couple of docks to launch. There's a couple piers for fishing. It's really foggy out today. It's kind of a shame because I wanted to show you guys this park. It's very beautiful. They cut the trails. There's a couple times a week now. This time of the year the grass is growing like crazy. So they cut this trail like twice a week. They have little benches you can sit to look across at the lake. Facing east right now. They really do take good care of this park. And I always see wildlife out here. There's tons of deer out here. There used to be groups of coyotes that lived out here before the Milwaukee County District Park System bought this land. This was just wild land. Nobody owned it. And I used to come back here back in the day, before this was even the walking trails. And well, there was walking trails, but they were it was not maintained by any park system. So I got to watch this whole thing develop. It was pretty cool. They put this boat launch in about 10 years ago. I'll try to get better footage of that later. Some people coming up over here. I'll try to pan away from them one. Get up to them. They got a dog with them too. That's one bad thing about this park though. There's so much land and a lot of people come out here with their dogs. There's almost always dog shit out here. So you gotta watch where you're stepping. Hello. What are you doing? It's a beautiful dog. Have a good day. Yeah, it's really a shame that it's so foggy today. I was hoping that I could give you guys some good footage. There's some pretty good stories, folklore about this park. If any of you guys believe in supernatural, paranormal, stuff like that, this is supposed to be one of Wisconsin's most haunted places. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we walk along. I actually started up a Facebook page about this park about 5 years ago. And it's, if you guys ever want to look it up, it's called Haunted Bender Park. And that's Bender spelled B as in boy, E-N-D-E-R. So it's Haunted Bender Park. It looks like something got tore up over here. Looks like some kind of deer fur or something. I'm not sure. There's been a lot of known deaths in this park. There's a very high suicide rate back in here. There's a large chunk of woods that I'll show you when we get to it that have had known suicides. People go back there and hang themselves, or they shoot themselves. So that portion is considered to be haunted. And then there's an old story of in the 1800s. This used to be farmland. The story goes that there was a farmer who went nuts and he whacked his family up with an axe. And I could never find anything to prove that, so I'm thinking that's just folklore, like an old campfire story, but it's kind of a cool story. It's kind of creep you out if you're out here. And also, right now I'm walking north. I'm sorry, I'm walking south right now at this moment. The park runs north and south, and then you have the lake is directly east. So there's roads that used to run through the property that run east and west, and people used to drive over the cliffs either on purpose for suicide, or some people would accidentally not realize that the road was running out and then they'd drive over it. There's a lot of documented stories, so that is a fact. But there's been many deaths on these roads up here. And we are coming up to one of those roads right now. I'll show you guys what it looks like. See the lake out there? Kind of. This lake, this beautiful Lake Michigan, is a gorgeous lake. But you have to really respect her. She's in a matter of minutes, she can turn from calm to 6-7 foot swells. So you really have to know what you're doing when you go out there. But here we are approaching to the first abandoned road. Let me see if I can get you a good shot here. These roads have been decommissioned probably since the early 90s. So they've been abandoned now for about, well, actually I'll take a little walk with you guys this way and show you. I do remember driving on these roads as a kid, but they've been blocked off now for almost probably 25 years or so. So you can't get any motor vehicles back here anymore. Not legally anyway. If you ever got caught back here with a vehicle, you'd probably get in big trouble. But back in the day, in my early high school days, when I first got my license, we were still able to drive back here, and we used to. This was kind of like a little hidden spot. We would drink beer and stuff like that, which I do not recommend, but when you're a kid, you like to try to explore things. I'm not going to go too far here. I'm going to just kind of show you guys a little bit about these abandoned roads. But as you can see, they have little dividers. You can see like right where that white little piece of wood board is right there. They have clumps of dirt, and those were put later. Those clumps of dirt were put in later, probably back, I would say probably mid to late 80s, because by that time, before the 80s, these streets were just wide open. People that were traveling eastbound, which would be this way, you're driving this way toward the lake. You know, it gets dark back here. There wasn't, I don't believe there were many streetlights, if any at all. And like I said, these little clumps of dirt were meant to slow you down in the 80s, but before the 80s there was nothing there. So 50s and 60s, people were just whipping through here, probably not really paying attention. And some would end up plummeting over the cliff over here to their death, and I'll show you that cliff. I'll be walking up to it here. If you guys are curious, pop over on Facebook, go to Haunted Bender Park. I do have many photos. I haven't kept up with that site in probably a couple of years now, but there are many photos that I've taken over the years, uploaded them there. So if you're curious to know a little bit more about the park, go ahead and head over there. Facebook friend me there, and I will. I'll add you. And also, I do have a Facebook account under Todd E. Walnuts. Same exact spelling as my YouTube account. So if you want to add me over there, please do. And see, as you can see now, it's very muddy here. But they have these wooden pillars, which were also put in late. These were not original. These were probably put up in the late 80s, early 90s. But before then, there was nothing here. They didn't have this berm of dirt here. And then you can see the road continues, but time and nature have really tore this road up. But basically, this is the very end of the road where I'm going. And then there's just a steep drop down below to Lake Michigan. And it was, back in the day, it was much steeper. Since they put this park in, they lowered the elevation of these cliffs to keep them from being eroded. So this is all man-made like this, how it's just a gradual slope. But back in the day, you could imagine it would be a straight drop. So nobody would survive these horrendous automobile accidents. And again, that these were documented. This is not folklore. So there have been many deaths. And most of them were suicide. People would drive over these on purpose. But now we're getting into the little section here where it gets to be a little more jungly, and the grass is a little bit longer, and I believe this is where we were picking up the ticks last week. So we're gonna have to watch. Luckily, we didn't get any ticks in. They were just crawling around, so. I'll show you guys footage of one more road coming up over here. It's still going to be a little bit of a walk yet, but maybe I can tell you a little bit more of the park's history while in between. And I think at the end of the video, I'll take a walk down below and we'll look at all that erosion. This is a time of year we get a lot of erosion. Very end of the video, I'll take you guys down below and show you the boat launches. We used to, my dad had a boat. He ended up selling it probably about 10 years ago now. But we used to be avid fishermen out here in Wisconsin. You're either a hunter or a fisherman or some kind of sportsman. And I never got into hunting, but I was a big fisherman. We used to take back before this boat launch was even here, we used to take the Racine launch, and then we would ride like 20 miles to get to the power plant and fish the warm water discharge. And we would get perch that were like 15, 16 inches long. And then we would catch brown trout, king salmon. And then even once in a while we would take the boat and just take a ride up the Milwaukee River through downtown Milwaukee just for sightseeing. And that was one of my funnest things ever. Those are good memories. This is facing direct west right here. There's really not a lot to see because there is a lot of vegetation. And this is direct east, facing toward Lake Michigan, but you can't quite see it right now. And there's Hannah. I don't see any ticks so far. That's the one good thing about having a light colored dog is those ticks jump out right at you. You can see them right away. They're little dark black, dark brown, probably about the size of like a, I don't know, like a tip of an eraser, I would think, on a pencil. Maybe about half of that even, because they're not very big. The wood ticks get pretty big, but the deer ticks are really small. And the deer ticks are the ones that you can get Lyme's disease from. I think I just saw an eagle or a hawk. Take a little walk over here to the cliff. We do have eagle out here. We have hawk. We have falcons. And we do have, there used to be a ton of coyotes in this area. I remember before this park was taken over by the Milwaukee County, walking back here with my dogs, and I would see groups of coyotes, maybe 6, 7 in a group. Yeah, we can't really see much, but this is one of the cliffs here. Yeah, that fog is killing it, but I'll catch this park at a different time for you guys too, when it's really sunny out. I'll also come back in the fall when the leaves are changing. This is one of my favorite places to go. This place is very spiritual to me. It just kind of washes away all the stress and everything. I love coming out here. Usually you'll see a lot of people out here walking. People come out here with their mountain bikes, or people come out here with picnics. People come out here with their dogs, obviously, and I've never had any problems with this park. Like I said, the only thing that I really have a complaint about is the dog poop. But I haven't really seen any today, so maybe it's getting better out here. Okay, we got some more mud here. This is where the farmer's field used to be. And I'll take you to the site of the alleged murder. I don't know if I believe it or not, that story, but it's kind of a fun story to tell. I even went to the Oak Creek Police Department to look into their back records, and I couldn't find anything. I was thinking about writing a book about this park, but I couldn't find enough detail, so it never really went anywhere. I was going to work with one of my good buddies who was a published author, Nick Daniels. If you're watching, Nick, a little shout out to you. But we could never come up with enough solid evidence to fill a book with just the couple stories I told you. We would need a lot more than that, so. It's really hard to find deer out here during the day. I think right now it's probably close to 1 o'clock p.m. So the deer are probably hunkered in the woods. They usually don't come out until evening, dusk, or they come out early morning, just as the sun's coming up. They come out and eat some grass and stuff. There are quite a few of them out here. Some very big ones too. Never seen a wolf in this park, but I have seen coyote. I've never come across a black bear in this park. That's a little bit north of here. This is where the black bear sightings are. And usually the wolves are a little bit north of here too, but they are coming lower and lower into the state. And you can see that this trail is nice and cut. So they do a very good job out here. I haven't seen one piece of trash either since I've been out here, and I haven't seen one dog turd, so that's good. They're keeping it clean out here. We are walking south on this trail. Soon we'll be coming up to another abandoned street. And the one that we're coming up to is supposed to be the one that's haunted. It's called Oakwood. The one that you saw previously was called Fitzsimmons Road, and this is Oakwood Road coming up. And then probably a couple miles south of this road is the big power plant in this area. And that's the Oak Creek Power Plant. And I don't think you'll be able to see it. Usually by now you would have been able to see the smokestacks. But since it's so foggy, you can't see anything. But you could see those smokestacks for miles, even from the roads. If you're driving on the Highway 31, Highway 32, you can see the smokestacks for miles. That's east towards Lake Michigan. Let's take this little trail here. There's a little fork in the road back there. I want to show you guys Oakwood because this is where most of the automobile accidents happened on this road. This one is very dangerous. They have portions of it fenced off, but over time some of that has decayed and started to fall in, and some of the land eroded around the fence. Still going strong. Good little exercise out here though. Not only that, it kind of cleanses your soul out here. It's just for the few moments you're out here, you really feel it's like a spiritual journey. It's like an awakening out here. For me anyways, it's almost like a reset button for me. I never saw this part. I mean, before I was born, I guess there used to be some military stations out here where you could see some of this leveled land right here. Right around, like, I guess in the World War II era, and even short, probably a decade after that even. They had some kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't say it was testing, but they had some kind of military outposts out here. I don't know if they had training or what, but that's all since, it's been long taken down. Before I was born it was taken down, but you can see where the parking lots and stuff used to be, and it's just an abandoned piece of land now. It's part of the park. But if you go over there, you can see cement slabs and footings, and where the steel structures used to stand, you can see all that stuff. And I'm glad that the Milwaukee Park System bought this land, because they were talking about turning it into either A, condos. They were going to put luxury condos along the lake out here, which would have ate up all the land and you couldn't walk out here. Or B, they were talking about putting a golf course out here, which we already have enough golf courses in Wisconsin. I'm glad they left it just like this, because this is perfect. So this road right here is called Oakwood. You can see that it's seen better days. Mother Nature is reclaiming it. And I guess we'll walk this way for a little bit so I can kind of show you guys the road. This is if you look this up on the internet, Oakwood Road in Wisconsin, you'll find that it's one of the most haunted places, allegedly haunted places in Wisconsin. I've been coming out here for 25 years or more, and I have never had any paranormal activity. I don't have any reason to believe that this is haunted, but I am a believer and I do want to believe, but I don't have any good stories to tell you guys. This patch of woods right here, this is facing south from Oakwood. It's said to have satanic cults were back there. I have footage, pictures on my Haunted Bender Park Facebook page that has some old carvings and trees of satanic symbols and stuff like that. There was like a little triangle of trees, and I do believe that story, but and there have been documented suicides in these woods. So this area back here is kind of creepy just because of the history of it. But as far as it being haunted, I could not tell you that. You judge for yourself. And up the road quite a ways, probably about half a mile or so, it's tied off with chains and cement pillars, so you can't actually drive past here. But up quite a ways ahead, I don't know if you could see at the very top of the hill where the road is. That's a dead end where cars actually can drive up to that chain, but they can't drive any further. So I will turn back around and then I'll show you guys the cliff where these people used to drive over. And then again on this side over here is where there was a satanic cult. And I don't think I'll have time to go back there today, but I will go back there with my camcorders at some time. They do have a fence blocking between this road and the power plant owns that land over there now, but there is a hole in the fence somewhere. And I'll sneak back there and get some footage for you guys one of these days. Or again, like I said, you can go to my Facebook page, Haunted Bender Park, shoot me a request, and then you can see some of the pictures over there. There's some old water wells back there, I believe it. Probably back in the 1800s. There were homes back there at one time, but they're long gone. The only thing that's left is the well. There's some wells back there. And we found some really old artifacts when we were walking through there, like some old bottles that were from like the, I don't know, 40s, 50s. Found some old tin beer cans that were all rusted out. They haven't made tin beer cans in I don't know when, 60s, 50s. It's been aluminum for quite a while. Maybe 70s, I don't know. But at one time this was a traveled road, and it was one lane in, one lane out. And there were people that lived back here at one time, years and years ago. And it was way before they had these little hills. These hills were just put in to kind of slow people down. It was already too late by that time. They should have thought about that years ago. But there's little memorial markers every once in a while. You'll see one. Here's one over here for the family of those who have committed suicide out here. They come and they pay tribute, or they'll leave like little crosses or teddy bears or stuff like that. So the last one I know about out here was about 2 or 3 years ago, but there may have been some since, because they don't like to publicize that. But the last one I know of for sure was about 2 or 3 years ago. A young kid came in here and blew his head off. And then shortly before that, there was a middle-aged man in his mid-40s who took a bunch of pills and washed it down with some alcohol and went floating in the water during winter time. And before the cops could find out he was out there, he had already succumbed to the icy cold waters. By the time they pulled him out, he was dead. That was about 3 years ago. And this used to be a big turnaround right here. This was added in later, but then they have since put a fence in here. But let me see if I could get around and get you guys some footage of just how steep this cliff is. Let me see, some kids are out here with spray paint. You got this kind of a drop off here. It looks beautiful, but it's very dangerous. The land out here is very unstable at these cliffs due to the erosion. Seems like since they put up these retaining rocks down here, though, it stayed pretty good over the last 10 years. Not much of it has eroded. So those retaining rocks down there really do help, because Lake Michigan does get some huge waves. It's not uncommon to get 6-8 foot waves, 10-foot waves. Okay guys, I'm going to stop it here just for a second. I'm going to see if I can get you some footage of the boat launch down below. So I'm going to try to pause it and continue where I left off right here. But if it doesn't work, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later. Otherwise, hopefully you'll see footage following this right here. So stay tuned.